The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayor's and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Hey, welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. Each week, we bring you what's going on in the towns and villages that we cover. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. And with us today are Mayors and Supervisors. Wait, it's just Supervisors. The mayors, though, will have something to say that I will read. Let's start off this week with Jerry, Supervisor of the town of Rush. How are we doing there in Rush, Jerry?
We are doing just fine. We're anxiously awaiting warmer weather, as you've heard me state, and nobody wants it more than I do because I'm a little on the chilled side, but I'm still vertical, so that's all that matters. I want to let residents know that the brush pickup will be starting shortly. I see piles of brush all over town at the roadside, and that'll soon be hauled off to the brush pile on Stony Brook Road. If anyone has any questions about that, they can call the town hall at 533-1312 and get detail that they need. Another thing I wanted to mention is our water meeting. Not so much our water meeting, but our water progress. We are planning to, in the very near future, send out questionnaires to people who are on wells, and we would like to have their feedback so we can tell the extent to which people would like water in the town of Rush, those people who do not have water. And I'm kind of excited about this because I think it's terrible to not have water. And especially if the water that you do have is putrid, as many people tell me, I would like to see nice water replacing that. The other thing I want to mention is the Monroe County Fair. I believe I mentioned this last week, but the Monroe County Fair is planning on having their event this year in August, and it'll be once again at the Rush Riverside Refuge and East River Road. I'm looking forward to that event, and I will leave that to be the last announcement I make today.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Well, let's move on to Scottsville. As you know, Eileen Hansen, yesterday was her last day, and today is the new mayor, Maggie Ridge's first day. And we decided to give Maggie a chance to get her seat warm before we throw her into the fire in one of these meetings. But Eileen was very helpful. She sent us a couple of bullet points to read about what's going on in Scottsville. The organizational meeting will be held on Monday, April 4th at 6 p.m. in the Municipal Building, 22 Main Street. Newly elected officials will be sworn in at that time. Appointments and necessary decisions for the coming year will also be made at that time. The regular Board of Trustees meeting will be held on Tuesday, April 12th at 6:30 p.m. That's the village of Scottsville. Let's turn over to the town of Mendon and John. John, how are we doing in Mendon?
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me as always. Just wanted to bring up a few things today. We've had quite a few questions regarding, neighboring properties. So I would just encourage anyone who has some vacant property, maybe they appreciate the beautiful view, or they wonder what the status is of that property, to do your research. Because quite frankly, if you love the view, you want to own the view. And if you believe that there's some type of a conservation easement or some type of a forever wild thing that has been told to you by someone, I would suggest that you do your due diligence and do your own research to confirm if in fact that is the case. Also, I wanted to talk about brush pickup in the town of Mendon. Outside the village of Honeoye Falls will commence on April 25th. They will start on the east side of town and work west. It usually takes about 2 weeks. And of course, people like to have some time to get all their brush out to the shoulder of the road. If you have any questions, please contact our highway department at 624-6068. As I mentioned last week, individuals can bring brush to the highway department during normal business hours, and that includes all Mendon residents, including residents who live within the confines of the village of Honeoye Falls. We also have some road construction coming up this construction season. You know, we're heading out of winter, so that means we're headed into construction season. I think there's an old joke about that. So every year the town board enters into an agreement with the highway superintendent, section 284 of highway law, where we're spending just under $300,000 on some town roads. Now, these are town roads, not county roads, not state roads. The actual town of Mendon owns these roads. So the roads that we'll be doing this year are Mendonshire Heights, Mendonshire Drive, Friends Lane, Phelps Road, Junction Road, Langpap Road, Mendon Center Road, and Taylor Road, and Parks Crossing. There are information. If you have questions about that, certainly contact the highway superintendent. He can give you further information. Now, any county roads that need work, that is something the county contracts with the town of Mendon to do within the confines of the town of Mendon, and we will be possibly doing some work on some county roads as well. When it comes to the state of New York roads, which are your main roads like Route 65, Route 64, 251, that is something the state does, and they do not contract the town of Mendon to do that work. So I just wanted to clarify that with everybody. That two-year agreement is something that we work with a highway superintendent, and that is adopted in January so that he can plan to what roads he has to do throughout the construction season and to gather supplies. As you can imagine, like everything else, everything's going up, everything's in short supply. So we will see if we may have to modify that dollar figure associated with that 284 agreement. But if we do have to modify it, I am confident that we will be doing all those roads. The highway superintendent has a regular schedule on which roads and what type of resurfacing they receive and how often. And let's see, I think that pretty much winds it up for today, Chris. And as always, thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, John. Well, we also have a report coming in from Rick Milne, who had another event to go to, so he wouldn't be able to appear live. However, he did give us his report on the village of Honeoye Falls. He says that the village of Honeoye Falls will host its annual meeting and budget approval public hearing on Monday, April 4th. The public hearing begins at 6 p.m. for the budget approval for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Immediately following at 6:30, the annual meeting begins, at which time all official appointments and designations are made. The meetings are open to the public. We currently expect the meeting to be live on Zoom as well. A fundraiser, Spaghetti Dinner, was hosted by the Honeoye Falls United Methodist Church and a group of local residents that have been actively working to support those impacted by the Seneca Place apartment building fire. We appreciate the many who attended and donated towards the dinner fundraiser. A little over $2,800 was raised in support of these residents. We are very lucky to live in this giving and supportive community. Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to continually update our residents on some of the activities taking place in our communities. That was Rick Milne, Mayor of Honeoye Falls. And last but not least, we have Mike Falk from the town of Lima. Mike, what's new and happening in Lima?
Well, the thing that is on everybody's mind here, Chris, is assessments. The roll is out and people have received their notifications. We went up between 28 and 50% across the entire township. I can tell you that mine went up of $44,000, something like that, and that my 1,400 square foot one bedroom home that I built with a $16,000 truckload of lumber in 1997 is now worth $196,000. So it is not anything that anybody here did except purchase homes. We had a huge run on the real estate market here, and that has raised values. Of course, we have lost a bit of local control. And so the assessor did have to send our roll to New York State, who then rejected it and said it was too low. And then a baseline of 8% had to be applied across the board to all properties, which is why we are where we are. If someone has gotten their assessment, it is a measure of the value of your home. It is not tax. It's not, your taxes are not going up the assessment amount. So if you wish to talk with the assessor, 624-6120, you can leave a message if they're not there, make an appointment, come in to see Tammy, talk through all of the things in your file, and see where that goes. The town board meets this coming Tuesday, April 5th. Many things on the agenda. The agenda is on the website, lima-ny.org. The Agricultural Advisory Board meets on April 6th, so that's on Wednesday. And that is to discuss the possibility of the water district that the town of Lima is considering for the balance of properties outside of the village. The Ag Board is going to debate a little bit and render an opinion to go back to the town board. Couple things from Livingston County. Livingston County does recognize April as Fair Housing Month. Here in Lima, our code enforcement officer, Charlie Flozier, is designated as the Fair Housing Officer. If you feel that you have been discriminated against in your housing by a refusal to sell, rent, or show available housing, a statement that the dwelling is not right for you or your family, that the dwelling has an available sign, but you are told it is not available, steering to certain communities or neighborhoods based on race, ethnicity, or familial status, terms or availability change between a phone contact and an in-person visit. You are not contacted after acceptance of your application. An unreasonable refusal to provide a mortgage loan or homeowner's insurance. If you think you were harassed or intimidated, if you think you've been a victim of discrimination, I urge you to contact, and it was here in the town of Lima, contact Charlie so that we can start a formal investigation. Again, this is a program from Housing and Urban Development, and we want to make sure that things are done fairly for everyone concerned. Lastly, Livingston County does recognize National Child Abuse Prevention Month as April. Children need to be safe and in stable and nurturing homes. And out in front of the town hall, you'll see the garden of pinwheels and things that we do every year to remind everybody that child abuse is wrong no matter what. And that's all we've got, Chris.
All right, thanks, Mike. Does anybody have anything that they forgot that they wanted to add? Seeing none, thank you all for participating in today's episode of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. And thank you all for listening. We're here every Sunday at 1 o'clock on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. That's right. If you missed that, you can always read the transcript. It's in the paper the following week. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hopefully it'll be warmer next week, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.